So welcome to Module 4, and in this particular module we're going to create our CRUD application and we're going to introduce the CQRS and mediator pattern. So let's take a look at what's coming up in this particular module. So as I mentioned, we're going to use our application to create a create, read, update and delete kind of application, and this is really where we build our equivalent of the famous to-do list, which is in just about every tutorial out there just now. But we will be extending this from just a simple CRUD application. We're also going to introduce the concept of thin API controllers. Instead of having the logic inside our controller as we did earlier with the values controller, what we're going to do now is take out all of the logic from our controllers and move them into our application layer. So our API controllers are simply going to be responsible for receiving HTTP requests and sending out the HTTP responses. We're also going to be looking at seeding some more data. We're going to look at this in a slightly different way to what we did earlier. The way we did earlier was fine for simple data, but when it comes to related data, it becomes a bit more tricky to use. And whilst we're not going to be talking about related data just now, a bit later on when it comes to adding related data, then it's much easier to use this method to seed the data. So we're going to be adding some more migrations as well, and then what we're also going to introduce in this particular module is mediator and the CQRS and mediator pattern. And we'll talk about that separately, but for now what we're going to do is concentrate on creating our controllers, seeding data, and adding our domain entity. And we'll start with that, and then we'll come back and talk about CQRS and mediator. So let's just take a look at a before and after of what we're hoping to achieve here. And before, all we've got the ability to do is simply go and get some values from our API, either a list of values or an individual value, and display the output in Postman. And after we've completed this particular module, what we'll be able to do is go and get a list of our activities from our API, also display an individual activity. We'll also be able to create activities and edit activities, and we'll also be able to delete an activity once we've completed this particular module. So this is what we're aiming for, and let's get started.